Kurt Eugene Sova was a 17-year-old high schooler living in Newburgh Heights, Ohio, near Cleveland, when he mysteriously disappeared after a Halloween party in 1981. Sadly, he was found dead 5 days later. Before this tragic incident, Kurt was like any other teenager, an accomplished student, a loving son, and a true friend. Being the youngest of 4 brothers, Kurt enjoyed a close connection with his family. His mother shared that he was never in trouble, neither with neighbors, at school, nor with the authorities. Kevin, the eldest, described Kurt as a fun-loving and very humorous person, a comedian at heart, who adored sports. In another statement, Kevin expressed, "Kurt might have been the most skilled of all of us." On Friday, October the 23rd, 1981, Kurt reportedly decided to ditch school and hang out around a local liquor store until he found someone willing to buy him a bottle of Everclear. He spent the day drinking at a friend's house before heading out to a carnival. Friends and family observed that it was not typical for Kurt to drink heavily, making his actions that day particularly noteworthy. On his journey to the carnival, Kurt ran into his friend, Samuel Carroll, who was on his way to a Halloween celebration. Kurt decided to join him, and they headed to a duplex on Harvard Avenue, approximately 2 miles from Kurt's home with his parents. Samuel later claimed that Kurt became tipsy and felt nauseous at the party, so they stepped outside for some fresh air. With the temperature dropping, Sam went back into the duplex to retrieve their jackets, leaving Kurt resting against a fence on the property. When Sam re-emerged outside, just 2 or 3 minutes later, he realized Kurt was missing. He glanced around, searching for any sign of his friend. But with such a short interval gone by and no indication of Kurt's presence, Sam deduced that Kurt had probably found a ride back home. Dorothy, Kurt's mother, remarked, "It was out of character for him to be missing overnight. He would never stay out past 10, maybe 10:30 at the latest." When Kurt did not return home by the next morning, his parents' concern deepened, leading them to contact friends in an attempt to find him. When those efforts yielded no leads, they began scouring the neighborhood, but to no avail. By Sunday, October the 25th, with Kurt still unaccounted for, Dorothy and his father Ken made the decision to file a missing persons report with the Newburgh Heights Police. Kurt's relatives claimed that the local police were dismissive of his disappearance and did not carry out a thorough investigation. Their assertions were later corroborated when the police chief admitted to failing in his duties due to gambling and corruption issues. Furthermore, another officer was convicted for violently treating suspects whilst already serving a sentence for drug offenses. The family was relentless in their quest to locate Kurt, conducting their own investigation. Dorothy took the initiative to speak with the residents of the duplex where the party had been held. Initially, they denied any knowledge of a party or Kurt's presence. However, after a pizza delivery person testified that he had delivered pizza to the duplex during the party on the night Kurt disappeared, their story began to unravel. They ultimately confessed to having hosted the party and acknowledged that Kurt had attended. As the search for Kurt continued, the owner of a local store where the family had posted a missing person flyer was confronted by a peculiar man. He ominously claimed that the flyers were unnecessary, predicting that Kurt would be found dead within days. The police investigated the man, but after their inquiries, they concluded that he was mentally ill and not a risk to the community, thus clearing him of any suspicion. Several days following Kurt's disappearance, a resident of the duplex where the party was held reached out to Dorothy, mentioning that someone had been found sleeping on a cot in the basement, potentially Kurt. The police did not act on this information, but Kurt's father, Ken, took it upon himself to investigate. When he arrived at the duplex, he found evidence that someone had been staying in the basement, yet that person was absent, and Ken was left without any solid leads on Kurt's fate. Just 3 days after his disappearance, David Trusnick claims he spotted Kurt less than a mile from the Sova home. In a conversation with Unsolved Mysteries, David recounted, "I pulled over to give Kurt a ride, and then a van showed up. Kurt shouted, 'Franco,' and both he and another person dashed over to the van and climbed in. I had no idea Kurt was missing at the time. If I had known, I might have been able to intervene, maybe even follow the van, but I was completely unaware." Tragically, 2 days later, he was found dead. "That was the last time I saw him." There are theories suggesting that Franco could refer to Craig Franco. On October the 28th, 1981, 3 children playing close to a furniture warehouse made a grim find in a ravine just 500 yards from the duplex where the party had taken place. When officials reached the scene, they confirmed that the body was that of missing Kurt Sova. He was discovered face up in shallow water, wearing a striking yellow t-shirt and without shoes. His left shoe was found in the vicinity, but the right shoe was never recovered. Chief Deputy Coroner performed an autopsy, but was unable to identify a cause of death. The body had some minor scrapes and bruises, but there were no clear indications of trauma that would suggest foul play. Kurt's blood alcohol level was recorded at 0.11, which by itself would not typically be lethal. The death was ruled a probable accident. However, the discovery of Kurt's body in a ravine that had been searched less than a day earlier raised questions. Now both Kurt's family and law enforcement suspect that someone who knew the area may have placed his body in the ravine after the initial search was conducted. On the night of December the 4th, 1981, at 11:35 p.m., Craig H. Franco was killed at a gas station by Francis E. Johnson. This incident has led to theories suggesting that the Franco Kurt reportedly called out the day before the body was discovered could indeed refer to Craig H. Franco himself. On the afternoon of February the 2nd, 1982, Eugene Cavett was found in a ravine 2.5 miles from the location where Kurt was discovered. Eugene, who had known Kurt, was found dead a few months after Kurt went missing. Both boys had been absent for several days before their bodies were located, and neither exhibited any signs of physical harm. Furthermore, Eugene's right shoe was never located. In 2019, the New Burr Heights Police Department revisited the case of Kurt Sova nearly 40 years after his death, collaborating with criminology students from Tiffin University to investigate the evidence anew. The following year, Kurt's case was chosen for CrimeCon CrowdSolve, an event that brought together true crime enthusiasts and amateur detectives to review the case files and develop fresh theories. Despite generating new insights and a few possible leads, the case still remains unsolved. Anyone who might have insights into Kurt's case is urged to call Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County at 216-252-7463. They had a $5,000 reward available for information that could result in an arrest as of 2020. You can also contact the New Burr Heights Police Department at 216-641-2117 or send an email to I would love to hear your thoughts on this case and have you heard of it, and tell me what you think possibly happened to Kurt. Please have a safe and happy Halloween, and I will see you next Friday. Thank you for watching.